Autoloaders are by far the most dangerous class of vehicles in World of Tanks. You know, people can say tank destroyers like the 4005 or the Panzer are the most dangerous because they have the ability to deal 1,000 plus damage in a single shell. But they have massive balancing factors that take away their capabilities. The YAG is slow, has terrible camo, and doesn't feature a turret, which means it's pretty bad to work in most situations, and if you're losing a game, chances are you're not going to be able to carry in a vehicle like that. And if we take a look at something like the 183 or the 4005, I mean, yeah, they hit really hard, but again, bad camo values. The 4005 has 0 armor, artillery will tunnel you like crazy. The tanks just feature a lot of weaknesses, and because of that, they're not very good. However, tanks like the T-77, well, this vehicle is an autoloader. It has 3 shells, which deal 360 damage per shot. And it can get all 3 of these shells out in 4 seconds. So that is about 1,080 damage. Or what, 1,080 damage it should be, in literally 4 seconds. What are you going to do to counter that? Not much, I can tell you that for a fact. Now, the T-77 has a lot of weaknesses. It has very poor armor on the turret. I say that as we get a bounce from a patent, and you're actually going to see me get a couple more bounces, but that is because I'm fully hull down and the enemy can only see the roof of my turret, which is actually quite hard to pin. It's the lower half of the turret that is really weak. The other thing about the T-77 that is a big downside is the fact that it has almost a 40-second clip reload. That is really bad, and it means that in most situations, you're not going to be able to do much once you've dumped your clip, but it's not that big of a deal. We can see right now that I'm already halfway through my clip reload. I've got an Object 705 and a Vipera, who I'm tuned with, and they're not going to push. There's no way they're going to push past my teammates just to kill me. That's just not going to happen. So this is where driving a vehicle like the T-77, in my opinion, feels amazing. Is when you have this opportunity to reload your clip, to wait, and then once you get those shells ready, to absolutely annihilate it. Now in front of us we have a BZ-176, and it says I can pen the roof, but I also don't fully trust that, but yeah, we actually went right through the roof, but in return we get penned for 804. Welcome to the life of a tank that is absolutely busted. And the saddest part is that the shells shouldn't even have, it takes stupid. That's all I can really say. I mean, the shell penned me, you can see it right in the turret ring as well. Like, that's so dumb. I don't understand why that's even allowed, but welcome to the BZ-176, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, we are going to focus on still winning. We have lost about half of our health from a singular shell on that tank, but we still have about 850 left. Because we're an autoloader, we don't need that much HP. All we need to do is get our clip out and punish our opponents. So I'm at 1,400 damage currently. We got the enemy TVP spotted in the back. I'm going to drive up this hill, and we got the TVP. We also have the Lancet, so I'm going to aim it on his vehicle, back up. There you go. Nice shell into the Lancet. We have the Shrek as well. Is the Shrek going to poke us? So it looks like he is, and aiming. There you go. Take a blind shot. Might as well shoot the last shell as well because we're going to reload the clip as it is. At this point, I have started to notice that the other flank, where our VK4502A is, has a bit of a bad starting to happen on it. And trying to figure out what I want to do here. Is it more important to deal with what's in front of me or deal with what's behind? And I'm going to go deal with what's behind. I think that's the right play. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the good mobility. And this tank is fast. It can reach a top speed of 50 with my current build, which is actually really, really nice. And it allows the vehicle to actually feel quite enjoyable while you're driving it. Mobility is such a nice thing. I hate when I drive like the U100. I did a video on the U100 just earlier, and I'm forced to either run a turbo or improved hardening, V-stabs, and obviously rammer. And it's one of those choices that's really tricky to make. So we're going to aim it on the Sharfie chair. First shell pens, second shell doesn't really miss, just doesn't go where we want it to. And we actually get a pretty decent clip out. At this point, we are up to 2,500 damage, which is quite nice. Cobra backs up and, well, somehow manages to flip himself, which is really unfortunate. We need this Cobra here. This is basically the tank that is helping our team. So I managed to roll the Cobra, and he does a whole somersault and lands back on his wheels. So there you go. All good, and alright, that was a bit interesting, but we were able to help him out. We got the no-bad in front, we got one pen into his vehicle, we do get the second shell out. Yeah, it was a bit of a snap, but we were able to get that shell out, bringing us up to 3,200 damage. Type 4 misses me, I kind of juke the shell from him there, and just trying to figure out where I want to shoot. we're just going to bonk the enemy object. 263. Not bad. 3,500 damage dealt. The only thing that was a little disappointing about this battle is that our team was capturing the base. I could have done a lot more damage in this game. And I think we... Oh, no, that's right. We did do about 4k. That's because we hit the blind shot on that Shrek, I'm pretty sure. But I was a little disappointed because there was a full health Type 4. There was a 263, and I easily could have gotten another clip, maybe even 2 clips out here with my vehicle, but unfortunately, as we can see, we did cap the base. So, little annoying, but I can't get all too mad. Pretty good result for the T-77, and a great example of its overall holding capabilities. As we can see, this is a pretty solid result. We obviously finished top on the team, especially because there was still quite a bit of HP left on their team, especially with that pretty full health Type 4 heavy. Little disappointing, but we did 4,000 damage, and I can't get all too mad. We were able to hold and come out with a victory, showcasing where the T-77 is absolutely fantastic. While you may not have a lot of DPM in this tank, only sitting at 1,600, the great thing is that the gun hits hard, it's got great pen, and pretty good accuracy overall, which we easily were able to take advantage of. Let's get into another game. Here we are in game number 2 on Highway. This is a decent map, but not a good matchup. Up against us, we have a couple tier 10s, 116 F3, IS-7, STB, YAG. We shouldn't really have to deal with the STB, but the rest of the tanks, oof, they're probably going to end up going down. I personally hate fighting tier 10s in my tier 8s. First of all, you are forced to load gold. You know, when I'm fighting lower tiers, you know, tier 8s and below, I don't mind swapping to standard ammo in my tiered, you know, equal tier tank. But when I'm in a tier 8 and I'm fighting tier 10s, especially in an autoloader, you're basically forced to have a gold clip loaded because there's no way you're just going to swap to a different clip waiting 10 seconds to do so for this tank. I absolutely hate that about World of Tanks, the fact that there is +2, -2. I mean, Quickie Baby just posted a video and said why he likes it. And he's like, well, you know, I think it's challenging and more interesting to play in a lower tier tank and fight higher tiers. And, like, that's all cool. I don't mind fighting tier 9s because you have enough pen to cut through them in most situations. But if I am driving a tier 8, especially a stock tier 8, and I have to go fight tier 10s, I just don't think that's fair, personally. I don't think that should be allowed in the game. I honestly think that if you're stock, you shouldn't even get any games that are higher matchmaking. I think once you get your vehicle that is fully equipped, you should be able to fight, you know, higher matchmaking. But I feel like if you're stock engine, stock everything, even crew, you should only be able to go up against tier 8s and lower if you're driving a tier 8 tank. Let me know what you guys think about that. It's always a subject for debate, and everybody's obviously going to have their own opinions there. Now, our AMX is a little bit blocking us here, but I can't really get too mad. He's playing this game all right. He's shooting at the Tiger Mouse, shooting down the brick wall. I was tempted to shoot down the brick wall, but I really can't do that in this tank when, obviously, I'm on autoloader, so it's not going to go all too well for me, especially because we've heat loaded. But, you know, it will go well. A Tiger 2 crossing in the open. We get 1, we get 2, and that is 710 damage dumped out. Just like that. It's crazy how fast you can get damage out. I mean, that's literally the same damage that a 60 TP or an E100 would deal with the 15 centimeter in a vehicle that is a tier 8. It's kind of crazy. So we're going to reload. We've already got about halfway through our clip. It's a 30, I think, 6-second reload for my loadout on the tank. I'm not running vents. I was originally, but I've just stopped running vents at this point. The problem with vents is it looks like you're getting a lot of buffs. You know, it's a bunch of green, but then you're like, oh, it's actually not that big of a buff. I'd much rather just run food and then put something like V-stabs on my vehicle. So we got spotted through the tree here, and I'm actually rather surprised, but oh well, we're going to aim it on the side of the Tiger Mouse. There you go. Get the clear. It was a little unfortunate that we bled 500 to deal 133, but we still picked up the kill, which is pretty important. Now we are going to make our way over towards the Renegade, the IS-7, and the Object 752. Alright, so we're going to go full speed over here, and let's go, let's go. Unfortunately, the 4005 kind of drives in front of us. I was a little salty. Honestly, it wasn't really his fault when I look back. But this AMX definitely got me mad here. So I'm shooting at the rear of this IS-7. We get 1 shell out. I'm easily able to get another shell out into his vehicle. But you know what the AMX does? He turns completely wide, blocks the entire path so nobody can get around him. I'm really mad at this point because, I mean, bruh, it's a team game. Give people room to shoot, especially when there was plenty of room for you to give me the spot there. So I said, block me more, AMX. And then he replies, you're trash, shut up. Well, we'll take a look at the post-game results when this battle ends. But, yeah. Honestly, I probably engaged with this guy more than I should have, but, I don't know. There's always that little bit of gratification I find when somebody blocks you and then calls you trash to point out their mistakes, but I don't know. Maybe I just got a little bit too invested. Either way, we're going to focus at this point on winning the battle, because I don't really care too much about the AMX. We got a waffle in front of us with 1,600 hit points, and we are going to absolutely dunk him. There's 1 shell into his vehicle. We light him on fire. 2 shells into his vehicle. 3 shells, and that is 1,600 damage into the waffle. What the heck? Yeah. That is where the T-77 is insane and has the ability to literally dunk somebody's health away. Now, we are reloading here, but oh boy, there's a lot of teammates behind me, and they are all shooting at the Renegade. Yeah, we weren't able to get any damage into his vehicle, but that's alright. The reason I'm not playing too aggressive right now is because I'm worried about the Yag. I don't know where the enemy Yag Panzer is, and he hasn't been spotted the entire battle, which means to me that he might be in the 6, 7, 8 squares, which is kind of scary. I have 1,030 health, the Yag is 1,050 average damage. You can get why I was a little worried, but at this point, the Yag does get spotted, and a lot of my teammates were already out in the open, so I knew I wasn't going to die. So we're going to aim in on the side of his vehicle. Here we go, aiming, and I think we're pretty aimed in at this point. There's 1, there's 2, and there is 3. Well, if we penned all 3 of those shells, we should be sitting just at around 4,000 damage at this point. We have no clue, though, because dude is not spotted. So we'll have to see if he gets spotted with less health. He does. He has 507 health. So we'll have to see just how much we actually took off of his vehicle, because other players were obviously shooting at him as well. Not a bad game, though. Especially against tier 10s. This was a pretty solid result, and I can't get all too mad. Taking a look at the post-game results, we had a pretty solid game. We got a first class and ended up dealing 3,832 damage, and that is because we indeed penned all 3 of our blind shots on that Yag for a total of 1,065. That feels so good when you're actually able to pen all of those shells, and what's even funnier is the AMX who blocked us did 3,000 damage after calling me trash, so just an interesting result, to say none the least. Either way, I had a lot of fun playing in the T-77, and I think it's an absolute bop. There's a lot of people out there that will probably say this isn't that good of a vehicle because of the poor DPM and the fact that it has very little armor, but personally, I think the clip damage paired with the mobility makes this an incredibly fun tank to drive. I mean, it is super duper mobile, 53 km/h top speed, 15 in reverse. When you pair that with a power to weight of 17, it's just fast, and it was really fun. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.